Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. There is a narrative in college football right now that absolutely needs put to rest, okay? College football is different now than it was 10 years ago. Not a lot of people wanna admit it, but it is. And college football, with what players have been and what players will be, is completely different, and the amount of talent that a team has is completely different than what it once was. One of the biggest things we hear about the Southeastern Conference, the SEC versus the Big Ten, is that, well, the SEC is just more talented, right? They have better recruits, they have more talented player, they are reside in a more talent-rich area of the country. And while that is true for teams like Florida versus Rutgers, I do not think that is true at the top of college football. And I think at the end of the day, if you really wanna try to say, "Well, like, we're a better conference, we're a more talented conference because of our 12, 13, 14 teams," like, that is just reaching, and that is terrible. I've always hated this idea of, like, "Well, the SEC is actually the deeper conference, so that makes them the better conference." It's like, no, it was never used that way before. Everybody always mentioned the national championships of the SEC and everything else. Well, guess what? There's 4 teams in the playoffs right now that can win the national championship. 3 of those are Big Ten. The only 4 teams in the college don't, like, don't take my word for it. Go look at the predictions. There are only 4 teams right now being picked. Well, I should say 5. I saw one person pick Texas Tech, but there are only 4 teams right now that people are picking to win the college football playoffs, and those teams are Indiana, Ohio State, Georgia, and Oregon. 3 of those teams are from the Big Ten. Now, does that mean that Northwestern is a better team than some people think? And yeah, I do think they're a better team than some people think. Does that mean that UCLA, all these other teams, does that mean they're better than some of the teams in the bottom of the SEC? No, not necessarily. But using that argument to say, well, the bottom of the SEC is better than the bottom of the Big Ten, so it's a better conference, is completely asinine, and it just shows how much people have to reach for that argument. Well, the other argument that they have is, well, the SEC is more talented. Really? Are they? Because let's look at this list right here of college football awards, okay? If we look at this list here, and we'll go down, here we go. Excuse me. Now, obviously, the Heisman will be decided Saturday evening, but for now, we have Davey O'Brien winner, best quarterback, Fernando Mendoza, Big Ten. Biletnikoff winner, best receiver, Mekhi Lemon, Big Ten. Outland Trophy, most outstanding interior offensive lineman, Spencer Fano, Utah, Big 12. Remington Award, Logan Jones, Iowa. Coach of the Year, Kirk Cincinnati, Indiana. Best defensive player, Jacob Rodriguez, Texas Tech, Big 12. Oh, finally, we get our first SEC player, tight end, Eli Stowers, Vanderbilt. Okay, if you want to have the best tight end in the country, sure. Best defensive back, Caleb Downs, Big 10. Best defensive player, Jacob Rodriguez, Texas Tech, Big 12. And even if it wasn't him, I would say you're probably looking at like Caleb Downs or somebody like that, because Caleb Downs was second defensive player in Heisman voting. So you're still either Big 12 or Big 10 there. The SEC doesn't really have an argument. Linebacker of the year, Jacob Rodriguez, Big 12. Even if it's not him, it's Arvell Reese, it's Aiden Fisher, 2 of those guys, Sonny Styles as well, and we'll see them a little bit later on. Best running back, Jeremiah Love, Notre Dame. Even though they're not in a conference, they're still up north, not down south. You don't see another SEC player until you get to kicker, the Oklahoma kicker, and punter, the Georgia punter. This is the type of stuff that they made fun of the Big Ten for years. Oh, you can have a great tight end and a great kicker and a great punter, right? Oh, Iowa's got these great tight ends, and Michigan's got a great punter, and Michigan's got a great kicker, and Iowa's got a great punter and stuff like that. Like, this is the type of stuff that people made fun of the Big Ten for years, years. And now it's happening to the SEC. We don't hear a peep. We don't hear anything about it. At the end of the day, the Big Ten and really Jacob Rodriguez are the two that dominated this list, dominated these awards the most. Yes, you had Fano, the Big 12 interior offensive lineman, but you had Iowa, you had Ohio State, you had Indiana, you had USC all winning awards in here. You had Vanderbilt winning tight end, and then a kicker and a punter from the SEC. Like, get out of here with this narrative of, like, the SEC is just more talented at the top. And you might say, "Oh, JR, those are just awards." Okay. Let's look at Dane Brugler's mock draft here. Now, it says PFF on it. Dane Brugler doesn't work for PFF. He works for The Athletic, but still. The first 4 picks, all Big Ten. Look at that. And that's not even Jeremiah Smith. Jeremiah Smith and Julian Saint aren't even eligible for the draft this year. First 4 picks, all Big Ten. Fernando Mendoza, Dante Moore, Arvell Reese, Carnell Tate. You get Caleb Downs, number 10. 5 of the top 10, all from the Big Ten. You got 1 ACC, 1 SEC, 3 Big 12. Okay, great. Jeremiah Love, Mansour Delane, Kenyon Sadiq, another Big Ten. Ty Simpson, don't know why he's in there. Peter and Jerome McCoy, Caden Proctor, a few guys, ACC. You got a few SEC guys there, and then boom, 2 more Big Ten guys. Then you have Denzel Boston, Washington, and then you have Vega Iona, Penn State. Like, it's not all Ohio State here, folks. It's Indiana, it's Oregon, it's Ohio State. It's Washington, it's Penn State, it's USC with Mekhi Lemon there at 24. In these top 10, or in this first round, there are 11 Big Ten players, and there are 11 SEC players. And the SEC players only get saved because of the bottom 10 picks here. Not even bottom 10, like the bottom 7 picks here, where you have 4, 5. You have 5 guys in the bottom, 7 or 8 there? The bottom 8 there that are from the SEC. Thank goodness those guys are in there. Those guys will save it. But at the end of the day, you cannot look at the NFL draft that's coming up and say at the top of it, the SEC is so much better. Does that mean the Big Ten will get more players drafted than the SEC? Not necessarily, but that gap has been closing year after year after year. And it's showing that the top talent in college football is no longer from the SEC. The top talent in college football is from the Big Ten. And if you look at some of these SEC players that are in there, a lot of these guys didn't really live up to their potential and who they were, right? I mean, obviously the Clemson guys, Peter Woods and stuff like that, but Jamon McCoy, I believe he's been injured all season, so he's getting drafted on traits more than anything else. Caden Proctor, he's shown a little bit of good stuff here and there, but he's really more being drafted on traits than anything else. The South Carolina guy, Brandon Sice here, CJ Allen, like, not all these guys are being drafted on traits, but a lot of these guys have traits of first round potential. And so not all of them are always playing at that first round, pace or ability, but they're getting drafted because of their traits and stuff like that. Yes, Big Ten players have that too, but Fernando Mendoza, he played his way into the first round this season. He got a little bit of love going into the season, but there are also people that are like, yeah, we want to see it first. Dante Moore was not considered very, very highly after UCLA. He played himself into the first round this season. Sure, traits helped as well. Arvell Reese was almost a complete unknown at the beginning of the season. Look how he blew up after the Texas game. Carnell Tate, a lot of people didn't even have him in the top 5 of wide receivers going into the season in the NFL draft. Carnell Tate's the first one off the board. They're a top 4 pick, right? Both linebackers from Ohio State getting drafted in the first round. Caden McDonald, one of the best interior defensive linemen. Mekhi Lemon, the Blitnikoff winner this season. Vega Iona, one of the best interior offensive linemen. Was a little ouchy this season. One of the best interior offensive linemen of the season. Denzel Boston, he did not get nearly enough recognition for what he was able to do this season. Guy after guy after guy. Am I guaranteeing the Big Ten will have more dudes drafted? No, I'm not guaranteeing that. But I am saying that this is just one more data point that shows that the Big Ten is more talented than what people think, especially at the top of the first round and stuff like that. And then the other one, you want to talk about, well, our team's going to continue to make this happen. It was just one lucky year for the Big Ten. Let's look. Okay. 2026 recruiting rankings. There are 3 Big Ten teams in the top 6. 2 if you want to say top 5, but there's only 2 from the SEC in the top 5 as well. Look at this here, okay? In 2026, there are 11 teams within 35 points of USC. All right, USC 305.47. There are 11 teams. You get down to Michigan, there are 11 teams that are within 35 points of the top team in the rankings. If you go back all the way to when, people don't believe me when I say that more opportunity has opened things up more in the college football playoffs. You go back to the rankings in 2014, that was the first class of the college football playoffs. Alabama had by far one of the best classes. I think that might have been the best class in college football history. 3.19. There were only 3 teams within 35 points of that class. Only 3. And now this season, we have 11. If you go back top 50, then you have 13 this year, right? Continuing to show that more teams are able to win the national championship with proper coaching and proper development. And right now in the Big Ten, that is where the best coaching and the best development resides. The SEC is unfortunately in a terrible place of not being able to pay their coaches as much. Well, they can, but they can't afford to fire some of their coaches. Look at what they tried to do with Brian Kelly, right? Like LSU, sure, they're able to scrape by and be able to get Lane Kiffin there, but they were hardly able to pay Brian Kelly's buyout. And you had to go for a guy like Lane Kiffin because you couldn't go for one of the actual best coaches in all of college football. Penn State went out and got one of the best coaches in the Big 12 and brought them over to them. Michigan right now is going after some of the best young coaches in college football. Jed Fish, Kenny Dillingham. They might get Kalen DeBoer. I know, some people are trying to like poo-poo Kalen DeBoer. Kalen DeBoer ain't happy. And the people down there at Alabama want Kalen DeBoer out. But they're wanting him out because they do not have a program that is actually set up to help Kalen DeBoer, who is actually set up to bring Kalen DeBoer as one of the best. He showed it at Washington that he can be one of the best coaches, if not the best coach in all of college football. And that's what you're getting right now, is you are getting more spread out, teams being able to win it all, more spread out recruiting rankings between the two. Whoops, that's the 2014. Let me bring back up 2026. You're seeing it more spread out now. Ohio State is ranked 6th, but they're just as close as they were back. Actually, they're closer than they were back in 2014 with their rating. Michigan is there. Washington at number 12. I'm going to do a video on Washington at some point with their recruiting class and what they were able to bring in. They're one of the biggest sleeper teams in the Big Ten to elevate up. I want to wait and see if Jed Fish gets hired by Michigan or not, because I do think that changes the video. I don't think he will be, but we'll see what happens there. But overall, like, the more Big Ten teams that are in there, the more Big Ten teams that are closer, just shows more that can actually win a national championship, because not only are they going to bring in the talent, they're going to be able to develop them. They're going to be able to have the coaching to make it happen as well. So let me know what you think down below. Are you like me? Do you think the gap is closing in the talent from the Big Ten and the SEC? You think I'm crazy? Would love to know your thoughts. Please let me know down below in the comment section. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Have a good one.